Hello and welcome to the 23rd episode of Fresh Off the Reel. My name is Lib.
And I am Super Pat.
Where's that come from?
It's like Superman, another DC character.
What? We talked about how the Batman would not have any other DC characters in it.
And this is true. Superman was not in this movie.
No, he wasn't. Thank God he wasn't.
But I am Super Pat.
Yeah, and I'm super happy that the Batman is a good fucking movie.
Same. Honestly, like I've come to love Robert Pattinson as an actor over the years. I know he gets a lot of crap still because of Twilight.
Grow up.
Yeah, grow up. Okay, guys, come on. Grow up, please. But yeah, having seen like Tenet and The Lighthouse and Good Time and some of his other movies, he's really grown on me as an actor. So I wasn't like worried about him playing Batman when that casting was announced. But I like, especially like we're rebooting Batman again so soon. I was a little worried that this wasn't going to be good, and I'm very happy that I was wrong about that. And I'm very happy my excitement for like the past year was met. My expectations were exceeded. I had a great time. This movie is fantastic. We'll just throw that out there now. Really good movie. We both like really enjoyed it.
I watched this movie in theaters on a Thursday. Today's Sunday, so a couple days ago. It's still very fresh in my mind. I watched it in the theater in IMAX. It is a treat. You guys need to see this in IMAX. It was amazing. The explosions really shook the whole theater.
If you could see this, you should please see it in IMAX.
Like
If
it's
you
like
can.
Dune. It's like Dune. You have to watch it. You have to watch it in IMAX.
Yeah, I saw it opening night, and I plan to see it again before today. And actually, Lib and I were planning to see it together, but that didn't happen because I'm an asshole.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, if you saw the ending of the last episode, you'd know.
yep. So, Lib saw it on his own. I saw it 2 weeks ago. Yeah, 2 weeks ago.
When it launched, yeah.
Yeah, on opening night, and it's still pretty fresh in my mind. I thought about it a lot. I think I have my thoughts more or less settled on it, and I'm ready to talk about it. It's nice to be a Batman fan and have a good movie in theaters.
Yeah.
Because it's been a while. It's been a while.
Well, since The Dark Knight, really.
Yeah, so yeah, since the Nolan trilogy ended, it's been a rough time to be a Batman fan in film. The DCEU is certainly a thing that exists, and I'm happy we moved past it.
There isn't a like DCEU Batman movie, right?
Nope.
Like
This was supposed to be. This was originally supposed to be.
this?
Ben Affleck was supposed to be in the Batman, and Ben Affleck was supposed to direct the Batman.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that was a thing, and but then that got scrapped. Then I guess after Justice League flop,
And then the entire DCEU got scrapped.
yeah, Matt Reeves picked this up and was like, "No, I'm telling Batman Year One, I'm not getting Ben Affleck. Leave me alone." And I'm happy they're happy they left him alone.
This is great. Like they learned their lesson with not leaving directors alone with Zack Snyder.
Yeah.
So
There was a quote from a WB executive a couple of weeks back. I don't remember exactly when. It was a couple of weeks ago, but the TLDR what this executive said was that the future of film is allowing directors to create their vision and to direct their art the way they want to. And I read this and I'm like, you dumb fucking idiot. Why was this not the play from the beginning?
yeah,
Who would
seriously.
who would have thought that studio interfering with a creator will ruin the product? Let creators make their art, please.
Suicide Squad, every other DC movie.
Yeah, a lot of movies, Spider-Man 3.
Yeah.
Studio interference happens a lot more than I think a lot of people wanna accept or talk about because it's a big problem in the industry. And that's not to say there isn't any studio meddling here. We'll talk about it later, but there's a certain cameo in this movie that was a studio shtick.
Yeah, and we can't talk about it here for reasons, but a certain animation studio that just released a movie is getting a lot of backlash right now for that same reason. So,
Yep. But like overall, I'm happy. I'm happy they let Reeves make his product almost exactly how he wanted to because man, this I said this when we walked out of the theater, when I walked out with it with my friends. It's a pretentious statement. I understand that it makes me sound like a Reddit film bro, but the Batman isn't the movie. It's not a superhero movie. The Batman was a film.
Yeah.
It really feels like a film noir detective movie with a Batman skin. It doesn't feel like like a generic Batman story. It doesn't feel like a generic superhero movie. It feels like Matt Reeves directed a detective film noir starring Batman.
Yeah.
It oozes with his style. I'm very, very much in love with it. It's a great time. If you haven't seen it, please do. If you're not a Batman fan for a laundry list of reasons, there are plenty of reasons not to like Batman. But if you're not a Batman fan, I'm not going to say this is going to change your mind, but give this a shot because it's really really good. Reeves really shines here. The cast really shines here. The story's great. I think the characterization of Batman's really good here. Please just go give it a watch.
You don't need to watch anything before this either. You could just watch this.
Yep, yep. This is a reboot. I think we said this last
Yeah.
time or today. I don't remember, but this is another reboot of Batman in theaters.
It's always a reboot.
Yep, I think it's the fourth one since I've been alive. It's the fourth one, period. Actually, yeah. So it's a reboot. It's a fresh take on this character. It is not connected to any pre-established movie. Are you okay? You good?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Yeah, okay. Just checking. Just checking.
I'm choking on coffee.
Oh, good. Good. Your audio is going to be muted here, so it's like I'm talking to myself.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this isn't connected to any pre-established DC movie. It is a standalone, 100%. So you don't have to worry about any baggage. You can just jump into this and have a good time. I hope. See it in IMAX if you can. See it on the big screen if you can't see it in IMAX.
If you want some backstory to this movie specifically, because there is gonna be a sequel to this, but now DC's making a comic series about Riddler Year One. That's gonna be cool. Prequel to this.
If you wanted to see the inspiration for this movie, Batman Year One is a great graphic novel, and it has an animated movie. If you want to watch what this was inspired by, it's a great story.
And check out our episodes on the Christopher Nolan trilogy, because that is more top tier Batman content.
Yep, this is the end of pseudo Batman month,
This is it. We reached
which
it.
lasted 6 weeks. This is the finale. We took a little pit stop to talk about Sonic.
Blue Justice.
Blue Justice, the next Robin, maybe.
Maybe.
So yeah, here we are.
All right, let's talk cinema.
So Batman ventures into Gotham City's underworld when a sadistic killer leaves behind a trail of cryptic clues. As the evidence begins to lead closer to home and the scale of the perpetrator's plans become clear, he must forge new relationships, unmask the culprit, and bring justice to the abuse of power and corruption that has long plagued this metropolis.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a Batman story. Gotham's corrupt. Like we've done and we've seen this a million times. Living in Gotham sucks, and I don't know why people stay there. If I'm being perfectly honest.
I don't know why the army just doesn't hang around Gotham more often. Like the US Army just hang around Gotham.
Rent in Gotham must be like disgustingly cheap. For anybody to willingly stay there for any extended amount of time, rent must be free. Like you could live here for free, but just keep in mind that you might die or run into the Batman, which might be worse than dying.
One of the big things that I love about but by the way, we didn't mention it, but I gave this 5 stars.
I also gave this 5 stars. I talked about it briefly in the Dark Knight Rises episode, but this is on par with me to the Dark Knight. Depending, I need to see it again before I really cement this opinion, because right now I'm still in like hype mode. So like right now, I'd say it's a little bit better than the Dark Knight. I need to see it again to really like be sure.
Yeah, right now for me they're tied. I don't know which
Yeah, in
one's
terms
better.
of quality, they are equal. That's a great movie.
But in all my Letterboxd lists that have rankings between the Batman and the Dark Knight that I have, like I have one of comic book movies ranked, I have one of DC movies ranked. I put the Batman higher for now, but I don't know yet because both movies are still fresh. I watched them both this month, so I don't know yet. But back to what I was saying, one of the things I love most about this movie is, yeah, they reboot Batman, and most of the time when they reboot Batman, they gotta show Thomas and Martha dying again.
I'm really happy I'm really happy they didn't. Like
And not only did they not, Martha was only mentioned once. Thomas was mentioned a few times.
they're both relevant to the story here. They both play actually a pretty I won't say big, but like a good role in the story. But like their death isn't like we aren't spoon fed the Batman's origin again this time. We're thrown into this movie. Bruce has been Batman for 2 years already, and we're just thrown into it. They don't waste time reestablishing Batman.
There's no learning. There's no like getting used to being Batman. There's no making his fucking suit. We have it already. He already has his gadgets and gizmos. We have it already.
It's 2022. Everybody seeing this movie. Everybody seeing this movie knows Batman's deal. We know what happened to his parents. We know it affects him. We know it still affects him. We see that it still affects him in this movie. I'm not saying that their death is downplayed here because it's totally important. But as the audience, we don't need to see it again. And I'm happy Reeves made that creative decision to not show it and just like get in there, just get right into it, get into the Batman story. We don't need to see the Dark Knight rise. We've seen it.
Yeah.
It's time for the Dark Knight to just be. He's here. He's in Gotham. He's doing his thing, and he's looking into this mystery.
And speaking of going right into it, within the first maybe I want to say 15 minutes, we see Batman for the first time coming out of the shadows. He drops the vengeance line immediately. That's his first line.
Yep.
That's his first line in the movie.
Yeah, we're really like Matt Reeves does not waste time. He just goes right into it. And on that topic, I'm actually kind of surprised how often we see Batman like in the suit.
Yeah, he's
Because
mostly in the suit in this movie.
his screen time, he's in the suit, and I didn't expect that. I'm happy because personally, I love the Reeves bat suit. I think it's really cool. But I usually like these actors don't like being covered up, or there's some kind of contractual obligation that they have to show the actor's face. That's why Bale is often seen without the bat suit on, because his face is part of the contract. He needs to be seen.
Yeah.
And it's a common thing for actors. They don't want to be covered in makeup and spend hours and hours in costume, right? Like, so we get in a lot of the old Batman movies, we get a better balance, or we get more Bruce Wayne than we do Batman, if anything. But this one, like 90% of the runtime, we see Bruce is in. He's in the costume, and I think it's really cool. And it fits this version of the character because this version of Bruce isn't interested in living this double life. He's not interested in his Bruce Wayne alter ego. He just wants to be the Batman. So it makes sense. And I'm sure that's gonna come up in like later movies where like he's gonna learn that like the alter like his day job, like his Bruce Wayne life, is just as important to keeping the city safe as his nightlife. Like he's gonna have to like no eventually we're gonna get the playboy billionaire persona, right? I think that's important. But this early year two Batman doesn't care yet, you know. He's just full on in his pursuit for justice, and it's all he cares about. And it costs him in this movie. He learns from it.
Yeah.
It's really interesting to see. I love seeing how his Batman develops from the beginning of the movie to the end. Like at the beginning, there's people who like don't even believe he's real, you know, or they aren't afraid of him. He's just like a myth in the shadows. He's a vigilante. They straight up just call him a vigilante. But by the end of the movie, he kind of redefines what being Batman is, and he's a hero in the end. And like that scene, like towards the end of the movie. I know we're jumping around already, but I just want to I want to point out the scene after the big Riddler fight, quote unquote, when like he's saving people and he's lifting up one of the injured civilians like to the helicopter with like everybody watching him. It's just such a beautiful scene for
Yeah, it
Batman as
is.
a character. Like that's when the Batman became a hero to Gotham, and I think it's really well done.
I one thing that one of my friends pointed out in this movie is we actually see Batman doing Batman things during the day, which is pretty rare for Batman as a character as a whole.
Yeah, it's very rare.
He's like, in the shadows, that's the whole thing. But he's protecting Gotham during the day too, this version of Batman.
Yeah, like this version of Batman kind of fun because obviously he doesn't suit up during the day. I mean, he does for certain parts of it, but there's a lot of like scouting he does during the day, where like he'll dress up in like camo, quote like kind of like he'll wear like the face paint and he'll wear like stuff that covers his face. but like he's in civilian mode, kind of doing Batman things, and it's cool. It's cool to see. Like Batman for the first time ever in film is like we see the world's greatest detective aspect of Batman. We never see that in movies. It's always the punchy punch, you know. It's always the brawler. So it was nice to see this kind of interpretation of him finally, like after so long.
Yeah, we only the furthest we got was in the Arkham games.
Yeah, the Arkham games, and like Bruce uses his toys in like the Dark Knight trilogy. Like he has the supercomputer that everyone hates, but like that's not detective work, right? That's just like he's like it's kind of detective work, but this is the first time we see him like get out there and like be like a detective, like looking for clues and solving mysteries and stuff. And it's cool to see.
Yeah, speaking of Batman's toys, I realized that in the Nolan trilogy, he doesn't really have any. Like, does
He
he
has
even?
more like he has vehicles. He has vehicles. He has batarangs in Begins.
That's
Only in
it.
Begins.
Only in Begins. In this movie, the Batarang is always with him. It's in the crest, which is super cool.
Yeah, the bat symbol is a knife that he can use as a batarang. It's cool.
And he even has his utility belt in this movie. He doesn't use it, but it's there.
Yeah, maybe later you'll put some smoke bombs and stuff in there, and it'll be cool.
Yeah. This Batman likes using the grappling hook a lot. Like there's a scene where he swings around the Gotham like fucking Spider-Man with the grappling hook.
I love the grappling hook. I love toys in these movies. I love Batman's toys.
He even has he has a wingsuit in this one too. A wingsuit.
but one thing I really like about the wingsuit is because like it's the first time he's ever used it. Like when he goes up to the top of the building and he like looks down and he's scared, and then he puts on the wingsuit and he fucks up. Obviously, he hits like a train that's moving.
Yeah.
Like it's cool to see like a more flawed Batman. You know,
Yeah.
like he's still trying to piece things together, and it's cool.
And Robert Pattinson's voice that he uses for the Batman voice, it's just his normal voice, just deeper. Well, Bruce's
Yeah,
normal voice, because obviously Robert Pattinson's British, but
yeah. It's the Bruce Wayne voice, but deeper,
yeah.
which is perfect for me. I think that's what Batman voices need to be. Is you don't need to change the voice completely. You don't need to use voice modifiers. Just have be his normal speaking voice, but deeper. And for me, that's perfect.
Also, this is the second British Batman.
Let's hope he stays because I like Robert Pattinson a lot.
I love him. He's great.
I think his Bruce Wayne is a little too brooding.
Emo.
But yeah, I wasn't gonna say emo, but yeah, he's a little too emo. But I think it fits for like this where he's at in his life currently.
Yeah, I think this is temporary.
This is temporary. Yeah, I agree. A lot of people were calling him kind of emo hobo Batman because he looks and dresses like shit for like the whole movie. We see him out of the costume. Like he just looks exhausted all the time. He looks like garbage in terms of how he dresses.
This is one scene where he's like talking to Alfred at the table and he puts on sunglasses and my theater laughed
Yeah, yeah, it was funny.
when he put on the sunglasses, my theater laughed. It was really funny. He looked so dumb in those
He
stupid
does.
sunglasses.
He's this emo child. It's like I saw him getting like, people giving him a lot of crap for that, but I think it fits this like state of his character, and I think his performance is excellent. Like he does it so well. Maybe that's the Twilight coming back in. You know, maybe he was a good actor back then too. Forehead. Okay, maybe not. Maybe
Okay, no, don't go
short.
that far.
Don't go that far. But
Don't
like,
go
yeah,
that far.
he is a little too brooding, but I think this is just like step one, and then maybe we see him in Batman 2, and we will get that billionaire persona again. We'll see him a little more lively, you know.
Yeah, I hope this movie changes like people's view on Robert Pattinson, because before that, like we have like great movies with Robert Pattinson, like what we mentioned before, The Lighthouse, Good Time, Devil All the Time. Those are like sort of obscure movies that only people who like movies would know. This is the Batman, and it's putting Robert Pattinson in the spotlight here, like what Twilight did back like fucking 15 years ago. So yeah, please, more Robert
Yeah,
Pattinson.
I really hope this changes people's mind on him, and he starts getting more roles that he's happy with, you know.
Look, if our viewers here, if you guys want a good Robert Pattinson movie, Good Time is great.
Yep, I love Good Time.
Good Time's great, and if you feel like getting brain fucked, to watch The Lighthouse if you feel like getting brain fucked. Though, if you don't feel like getting brain fucked, don't watch The Lighthouse.
Lighthouse is also great, but yeah, it's a bit of a
Oh, I think that's his. I think that's his best movie. But yeah,
yeah. I would probably agree. I think that's still his best movie.
yeah. So we've been talking so much about Robert Pattinson. Let's see what the rest of the cast has to offer. So our supporting cast here, we got Zoe Kravitz is Catwoman, Selena Kyle.
And I love her.
Yeah, she's great. I love
There's
her.
a lot of memes on Twitter about people simping for her, and that they barked at her when she saw Catwoman. She's Catwoman, but people were barking. Haha.
Haha, funny.
Same though. I'm down bad.
I still don't know if I prefer her or Anne Hathaway as Catwoman.
I prefer her.
I think I prefer Anne Hathaway.
They're both really good Catwomans. They're both much better than Halle Berry.
Okay, yeah.
But
Okay,
they're also very different interpretations of Catwoman. I think this one is really good for this universe, and I hope we get to see her again in future movies. Probably not to the same like extent, but I would love to see her team up with Batman again.
yeah, they made a really good team here. Their romance isn't as strong here as it was in in the Dark Knight Rises, because in that movie they're straight up, together.
Well, I wouldn't consider what they just have really good chemistry, and there is like sexual tension,
They
but it's not
kiss.
like our yeah they kiss, but like it's not our romance yet, you know. It's clearly heading that direction, but I don't consider her a love interest.
Yeah, I'm guessing the sequel is either gonna introduce a new love interest or keep Catwoman as a love. I think she is returning for the second movie. I think that's been confirmed. I'm not sure though.
There's one actor who is confirmed to not be sure is returning, and we'll talk about him later. Next down the line, yeah, Catwoman's great. We could move on to the next one. We have Jeffrey Wright as James Gordon.
Yeah, Jeffrey Wright as James Gordon. Pat and I know him from the Craig Bond movies.
So yeah, we know him from the Craig Bond movies. We think he's great there. I think he's really good in Westworld. I've also seen him in he's in the French Dispatch, the 2021 one.
Yeah.
He's a really good actor. I think he's really good here.
Yeah, he's great. He's a really good Gordon.
I prefer Gary Oldman, but I don't know if that's like nostalgia for me or just because when I picture Jim Gordon in my head, it's Gary Oldman's face.
This is a very different Jim Gordon too.
Yeah, he's a lot more involved in this one than I thought he was going to be. But I guess this is a film noir, so I think it makes sense for Batman to work a little bit more closely with the GCPD in this one than he would otherwise. But I think yeah, he's really good here. They do a good job at like establishing his moral compass and like how he feels about the rest of his colleagues, because like he knows that the GCPD is corrupt, right? But unfortunately, like to make a difference, you have to suck up your pride sometimes, and you kind of have to do what you're told, even if you don't want to. Because Jim's whole thing, in like in every interpretation, but even here, is he wants to change the system, right? But you can't do that overnight, and unfortunately, you need to swallow your pride. You got to take a bullet and kind of just do what you're told for a while. And I think it's really cool. Like we get to see that side of him, because like Dark Knight, the Nolan trilogy doesn't really get into that much, and I guess like nowadays is like politically it's a very different time than it was in 2008 2012, so they do kind of have that light political commentary, like Batman says, oh you're good, you know, for a cop.
Yeah.
And that was like it was like a good line, I think. And like in the interrogation scene at the GCPD when they're interrogating Batman, and like all the cops have him in the room and Jim and him have to like fake an escape. Right before that, when Jim is like holding him back from attacking cops, Bruce is like, "Oh, you too? You're just like them." And then he's like, "Oh no, I kind of have to do it. I have to do this sometimes. You know, I gotta do what I gotta do." And then he punches Jim in the face for comedy. Very funny scene, guys.
Super funny. Yeah, I really like this Jim. He's a good. Well, he's not commissioner yet. He's lieutenant here.
Good detective.
Detective.
He's Detective Gordon.
In the cast list, he's cast as Lieutenant James Gordon.
Oh, is he? Okay. Oh.
Whatever. Lieutenant's still a detective.
Yeah, not commissioner yet though. Yeah.
Not commissioner. That's the next movie probably. Yeah, I like him a lot. Still don't know which one I prefer, but I'm warming up to this one because this one's a lot more involved. Jeffrey Wright, I think, to be like not no shame to Gary Oldman, but I prefer Jeffrey Wright as an actor to Gary Oldman.
Yeah. As an actor, I prefer Jeffrey Wright, but I think that the face is a little too iconic for me with Gary Oldman.
Yeah, he's him and Batman make an excellent team here.
That's it. For me, like in Dark Knight trilogy, they don't really make a great team. They're great together, but separate. You know, like they don't really work together much. Here, they really work hand in hand. A lot of the movie, they feel like a team and they work really well together.
Yeah. Who's next? So I don't want to go with the villains yet. So
You have Andy Serkis as Alfred. You know?
yeah, Andy Serkis is Alfred in this one.
Last time we talked about when we talked about Michael Caine, I said this one is a very different Alfred Bruce Wayne dynamic. And now that you've seen the movie, you know what you know what I mean now,
I
right?
know what you mean now. So Alfred plays a very different role here. He's not like a father figure like he is in the Nolan trilogy with the you just said his name, Michael Caine. This Alfred plays a backseat to Bruce's entire life. He kind of just scolds him mildly and doesn't really like to pry a lot. Bruce prefers to be alone.
Yeah, this Bruce really prefers to be alone, and this Alfred does give him his space.
And there's another butler in this one too. What's the girl? What's her name?
What?
The girl that lives at Wayne Manor.
I think she's just another butler. I don't know her
Yeah, I
name.
know. She's like, 'cause-
I don't think she's named. I don't think she's named. I think it's just a.
well, when he was calling her in the Batmobile, he was like yelling her name.
Oh, I don't remember.
Yeah,
It's just another butler,
yeah,
another
yeah.
member
But
of staff.
I just wanted to mention because in the Nolan trilogy, he's the only butler. In this movie, just to solidify that Alfred is not as important to Bruce right now, up until a certain point in the movie, which we'll get to.
Yeah, in a lot of interpretations of Batman, Alfred is his only, not just only butler, but like his only caretaker. So like it really like makes their bond stronger. Where this one, like Bruce has more help, like around the house and stuff. I think legally Alfred is still his guardian here, or like oh no, he's an adult, right? So like no, but like when he was growing up, Alfred was his legal guardian. But it's not the same dynamic. There is that love, like Alfred still loves him here, and there's a scene later that like shows that, you know, and Bruce loves him, but they don't have that same bond Michael Caine and Bale's Batman do, you know. This Alfred is more like harder. He's more like serious. He's more stone cold, but he's good. I like Andy Serkis a lot as an actor. I think he plays a good this version of Alfred.
Yeah, I think he's great. He's great
Yeah,
here.
I can see Andy Serkis being a good like Injustice Alfred, who like doesn't take shit from anybody and like punches Superman in the face.
He
This
does
actually
that?
happened, by the way, in the Injustice comic. Alfred like gets so Batman creates like a drug out of kryptonite that like basically makes non-meta humans strong enough to take on something like someone like Superman. And at one point, like after like Soups like really destroys like the Bat family, and he feels bad, so he goes to the Batcave to like see him. And Alfred gets pissed and takes the drugs, like you'll not harm my family again, and decks him in the fucking face. And it's really cool. And I can see Andy Serkis playing that kind of Alfred. Like I can't see like Michael Caine Alfred doing that, you know, but I could definitely see Andy Serkis as Alfred doing it. He plays a good like serious, the kind of like the military Alfred that we kind of see in Gotham as well. He's a good Alfred.
Yeah, I liked his Alfred a lot. We're gonna talk more about him later when we talk about what happened in the story. We're just gonna finish up the cast list because there's only a few more left. Because now is the bad guys. Because we got Colin Farrell as the Penguin. We got John Turturro as Falcone. John Turturro. He's Italian. I can't even say his name. Turturro. There you go.
Yeah, we got Pengy, we got Falcone, and then we have Paul Dano as everyone's favorite TikTok user.
We're gonna talk about the Riddler last.
Yeah, because the Riddler is the main villain here, but Falcone and Penguin are also in it as well. I have to say, Colin Farrell as Penguin might be like the best performance in this movie.
Yeah, I think so. He's great. He's so
He's
good.
fantastic. I hope he's in all these movies. I hope like they announced a spin-off with him. when I first read this, like, what the fuck is this? Like, who's gonna watch a Penguin show? Now, I want to see this show.
What's it even gonna be
I
about? We don't know.
I don't know, and I don't care because Colin Farrell is amazing. He's such a fantastic actor, and man, does he plays a New Yorker Penguin so well.
Last time we talked about Colin Farrell on this podcast, it was on Daredevil, where he played Bullseye.
Plays Bullseye. He's come a long way. Now he's Penguin and he's great.
Now he's
fantastic.
Penguin and he looks nothing like Colin Farrell. He looks like Robert De Niro.
He looks nothing like Colin Farrell. Yeah, like they did whatever they did to him. He looks great. I love his accent in this. I love his speech, his speech pattern. It's such a good. His interactions with Gordon and Batman in this are so good.
And there's a scene here in this movie where it's the only scene that really uses the Batmobile. It's the only chase scene. It's the first Batmobile scene. Batman chases him down, and that scene is probably my favorite scene in the movie. That's probably my favorite scene in the entire movie. I love it.
That okay? Can we just say best Batmobile?
Yes. You want to know why? Because it's a Dodge Charger. Okay,
It's
that's
a
not.
car.
That's
No, it's the best Batmobile because it's a car. It's not like it's just a modified car.
It's a car with a jet engine on it.
Yeah, it's you know how long it's been. Like I love the Tumbler. The Tumbler is great. The Batmobile in Batman v Superman sucks, but like I love the Tumbler. But I wanted a car. I just need a modified car.
There's this.
And we get that, and it's amazing.
The first scene, and again, like we were talking about before with the wingsuit. This is the first time Batman uses it on the field, and he does this big scary intro with the. It's like revving up, and it's about to go, and then the engine bursts.
Yep. We see it earlier in the movie, like it's in pieces, and we see like there's like a tarp over it. It's like he's clearly he's like working on it, and then when we finally get to see the Batmobile, because like it's in the trailers, we all saw it, but like I was waiting, and oh, that scene is so good.
It makes me want. I want the Lego Technic set of the Batmobile.
I would buy it too, honestly. It's such a
It's a beautiful car. It makes a great noise. We're gonna talk about cars at the end of this episode because we gotta talk about Ford v Ferrari. They used a real Dodge Charger. Obviously, they added a bunch of modifications to it.
yeah. It's still a Batman car, so it still has like comic book bullshit attached to it,
Like
right?
it sounds like a jet engine taking off. It's like it goes like that.
But it is the closest we've gotten since like the 90s to just a car, you know?
Well, I just want like the next Batmobile. I just want it to be like a Volkswagen Beetle, and it just has the Batman logo sprayed on it.
Perfect.
That's the Batmobile.
He also has like I mean, it's just a motorcycle. It's not a bat motorcycle. Well, it's black, right? It's just a motorcycle that he drives a lot, and it's cool.
At the end, though, he puts like a thing on it. Like there's like a thing on the. It's like bat ears. He puts bat like the the pointy.
Oh yeah. Because like when we first see it, it's like he's in civilian mode, so like it's in like normal bike mode. But then he gets like if not a faceplate, but like it's a cover from like where the dash equivalent of a motorcycle would be, and it gives it like bat ears. It's cute.
We don't know the words for motorcycle anatomy.
The dash equivalent.
The dash equivalent. The faceplate.
Yeah, that scene's the best scene in the movie. It's fantastic, and I loved Penguin in it. We were talking about Penguin.
Yeah, oh yeah, we were talking about Penguin. We got sidetracked.
Penguin's great in that scene. I love that scene later when like they're interrogating him too, and like they tie him up and they just leave him there. And he's like, "Are you guys just gonna leave me here?" Like it's great.
He's so good. And as for Falcone, they actually say his name right in this one. They say Falcone, not like in Batman Begins, where they kept calling him Falcone.
Falcone. I've been like rewatching Gotham, and like it's I'm getting a lot of Falcone. You know, so like I'm happy we got that in this movie too.
I don't know a lot about Falcone and like that Batman mythos, but he's great here. Like he's very.
He's just a mob guy. Like he's just a mob boss.
He's pretty menacing here. Like
He is pretty menacing.
And they tie in the thing of her and him and Catwoman.
I didn't see that coming. I did not see that coming.
Me neither.
Yeah, I think of the villains, Falcone is definitely the weakest.
Yeah, of course.
But he does have a lot of like in terms of the story, he's very important. So I'm happy, like despite him like kind of being having a more on the down low kind of role, he's a good actor. He's a good performance, and he's really important here because Maroni and Falcone are big Batman characters, and they deserve attention in these movies.
But now, time for the main villain, Paul Dano as the Riddler. He's fucking terrifying. On For me, he's on par with Heath Ledger's Joker.
He's like the last time we saw Riddler,
It was Jim Carrey.
it was Jim Carrey, and if excluding Gotham, it was Jim Carrey. So like this is a very different interpretation of the Riddler. He's straight up a terrorist in this movie.
He's
But
oh, I love him. I love him.
but he's great. He's so menacing. He's so good at being menacing, and I really like he found a way to be menacing while keeping the riddles, because like riddles are goofy, right? Like just in nature, riddles are goofy. So it's hard to make a character like the Riddler be intimidating. Where he's like, riddle me this, Batman. You know, like it's hard, right? But Paul Dano does a good job at making those riddles fucking terrifying.
Yeah, for real. That first riddle where the answer was "He lies still." That I was like skeptical because I wasn't sure if they were even gonna have riddles. It was just I felt like it was just gonna be like the Riddler and he was only gonna drop one riddle. But he drops multiple riddles throughout the whole movie, and actually he drops riddles in real life because in the movie
That website, yeah.
in the movie they have to go to this website called ratalada.com, and if you go on Google and you go ratalada.com, the creators of the movie made this little ARG where the Riddler like gives you a few riddles and they change every day, and there's a Ratalada subreddit dedicated completely to this website, and then it gives you a message and you could decode it in the Riddler's like cipher. I love when movies translate like ARGs into the real world and all that stuff. I love when movies
Oh
do
yeah,
that.
it's really cool. I wonder if this is like them, like eventually it's gonna drop hints towards the sequel. We'll have to see,
I feel
because
like it will.
Matt Reeves has been talking about the sequel in like interviews and stuff, and so is the rest of the cast. Like ideas they had. We'll talk about them more towards the end, because there's a big topic regarding that I want to talk about. Yeah, I really like Paul Dano here. He's such a if the rest of the Reeves movies like decide to take the route where like we're gonna take old Batman villains from the 80s and 90s 80s and 90s movies, and reintroduce them in like movies that are good, and make them like serious and like for the modern day. I think Riddler's a great first step, and I would love to see Matt Reeves' interpretation of like Mr. Freeze. I
Now
think that'd
let's
be
do
really
that in the MCU with Big Wheel.
please, please. Next next Spider-Man movie. I need Big Wheel.
Big Wheel.
No Way Home is great, but Big Wheel's not in it. So can it really be that great? A hashtag bring back Big Wheel and put him in the MCU, please.
Back to Paul Dano. One of my favorite parts in the whole movie is when we see the Riddler's face for the first time, and he's just this really lanky teenager. He looks like a
He's a
teenager.
nerd. He's a nerd. He looks like he gets bullied.
Like he's a textbook redditor. This
Yeah, he's literally a textbook redditor. In the story, he's a textbook redditor.
Yeah, there's literally one scene where he like makes a video. Hey guys, thanks for 500 followers. We're doing great here. We're gonna storm Batman.
Yeah, it's so good. I saw a meme where it was like, you know, like the Chad versus Virgin meme, where
Yeah.
it's like Virgin Riddler. No, it wasn't supposed to happen this way. Versus Chad Batman. You will die alone and nobody will remember you. I think that's literally their dynamic.
I love this Riddler, and I love his motivation. This movie of him also being an orphan, but I never really thought of it this way. That of Bruce Wayne being an orphan. Never really thought of it that way. That he was a rich orphan. He wasn't a normal orphan. Like he was in the spotlight.
Yeah, like it never comes up because yeah, Bruce Wayne is an orphan, but it's kind of hard to pity someone with like he still has a home to go back to, and he still has people who love him. Like he's a rich orphan. It's not the same struggle. And I thought it was really interesting to have Riddler play that kind of character. I also like that like he wants to get back again. He wants to get back onto society that like cast him away. Like put him through the system. But he's also like in the process, he's undercovering things about like the Waynes. I think it's really cool how they like tied those two characters together in a way that makes sense given the story.
This Riddler, he's great. I love him. He's on for me. He's on par, like I said before, with Heath Ledger's Joker. I might prefer him over Heath Ledger's Joker, to be honest.
Again, I think it's like for me, it's an iconicness feel to it. Like I think Heath Ledger's too iconic a performance to be topped.
Like we were saying in the Dark Knight trilogy, the Dark Knight episode, sorry, that I was saying how I don't think any villain will ever top Heath Ledger's Joker, and then this movie topped it for me. Like I love being surprised like that. I was so sure that Heath Ledger's Joker is the best villain I'll ever watch on cinema, but then Paul Dano came up, and he's fucking amazing. I don't know what it is. He's the perfect villain for me.
He's a such because like again, right, we talked about Jim Carrey briefly, and how like this version of the Riddler is so different. But then the moment he loses the mask, he becomes like it's a huge dork.
Yeah,
Like just like he gets his ass kicked on the playground, and it fits. It's so perfect. It's so perfect for the Riddler.
it really is. I'm so used to like the awkward, stupid Riddler.
But it's perfect.
Damn. And then at the ending, him and his team of redditors. I mean, fuck it. Let's talk about the ending now. I don't care. So
Like I was gonna say, like one of our buddies, one of our like our friends, was like, went to go see the movie, and he's not a huge Batman fan, and his take on the ending was like, yeah, like it's like a terrifying thought, and like being in that situation is terrifying. But when you think about it, that is something that 100% could happen, like for real,
yeah,
and that thought terrifies me.
yeah, that could
Like
happen
that
on
could
Reddit.
happen. Like Instagram Live and Reddit teaming up. Like it's not good.
Wait, isn't there a live feature on Reddit?
Yeah, I don't know on Reddit. I don't know. I think on Instagram. I
I
have no
think
idea.
there is on Reddit. All right. Anyways, I want to talk about the ending because one of the Riddler's followers, whatever, Batman gets into a big fight with him. This is my second favorite scene in the movie because the whole thing about Batman being vengeance, right, is because Gotham's scared of him. It's hard to explain. It's hard to explain. I can't explain it correct. I can't explain it right.
Batman wants Gotham to be scared of him. He wants to be a symbol of fear in this movie.
He wants to be a symbol of fear. He wants to put like order to Gotham. He finds out he can't do that on his own, and he just can't do that, period. That's not possible. Gotham is tainted. He wanted to be that symbol for vengeance. But then this random douchebag gets in a fight with him, and then someone asks, "Who are you?" And he says he's vengeance. That makes Batman realize being a symbol of fear just creates more.
Being vengeance creates more vengeance,
Yeah,
and it'll never end.
it's like you know the old saying like if there's evil, good will rise against it. It goes the other way too. If there's good, evil will come fight it. So there has to be a balance.
And Batman like redefines what his role is by the end of the movie, where instead of becoming a symbol of fear, he's a symbol of hope. And I think we didn't talk about the soundtrack, the OST much.
Oh
Yet.
my god, the
But
soundtrack.
Michael Giacchino's Batman theme is such a good representation of that theme, like of that thematic theme, where like it starts kind of like slow and like down, and then it continues with this more like I don't want to say angry beat, but like it's a more like melodramatic beat, and then it becomes hopeful, like becomes like slow and hopeful, and it's such a good theme for this movie. It's used a little too much, but it's such a banger. It's such a great song.
It's like if anyone here has played the Spider-Man PS4 game, the only song in that game is the Spider-Man theme.
But it's a banger. It's such a good theme.
It's the same thing in the Batman.
I think this theme really encapsulates the hope of beating out vengeance mentality that Batman overtakes in this movie.
I want to talk about Michael Giacchino because multiple times on this podcast I've talked about the three best composers, right? And I think that it should be the four best composers now. Michael Giacchino should be up there because I didn't realize how much of an impact he has on the film industry. He did the soundtrack for most Pixar movies. He did the soundtrack for the Spider-Man MCU trilogy. He did the soundtrack for Jojo Rabbit, which was really good. He did all the Jurassic World movies. He did all of the modern Planet of the Apes movies, all the modern Star Trek movies. That's all him. That's him. And I just didn't realize.
He's slowly becoming a bigger and bigger face in this industry, and it's great.
He was the composer for the music in so many movies that I've seen that I just didn't even know that it was him. It's like when you listen to a song that you haven't heard in like 10 years and then you realize that it's some random band that you remember from a while back, you know? So now, four best composers in the world. I'm putting him up there with Hans Zimmer. Uh, I forgot the other two's names because I can't think right now. John Williams, Hans Zimmer, and Danny Elfman. Michael Giacchino's with them now. Four best composers in the world right now. Michael Giacchino's there, and this movie put him there. His use of leitmotifs in this movie are excellent. Of course, Batman has his theme that Pat just talked about, but then we have is Ave Maria, right? For
Yes.
the Riddler. Whenever he's on screen or whenever like he's looming in the background in the shadows or whenever he's showing a riddle to Batman, we get Ave Maria, which plays I think more times than the Batman theme actually, Pat.
No, I think the Batman theme has played more. Ave Maria has played like 3 times, I think.
And then of course we can't not mention Something in the Way by Nirvana.
Everyone's favorite indie band, Nirvana. Yeah, this is gonna be Smells Like Teen Spirit too, and I don't know how I feel about that, but you know, now is not the time to be a music gatekeeper.
Yeah.
Something in the Way is a great song. I
Something
really,
in the
really
Way
like
is
it.
great. I've been listening to Nirvana since I was a kid pretty much. I did not expect like I remember when I heard it in the first trailer for this movie, I was so hyped. It's used great in this movie, and I love that it's established that Bruce is listening to this song because he turns it down when he's in the Batcave. Bruce is listening to Nirvana while he's chilling in the Batcave.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I really love that whole intro scene. Like after the intro when he like goes back into civilian mode and he's driving back to the Batcave on his bike and it's playing Something in the Way. I think that scene, like shot wise, the cinematography was phenomenal. The cinematography in this movie in general is phenomenal.
Like I know the Academy hates superhero movies, but they can't ignore this movie. They just can't.
It has to be nominated for best cinematography. Like this is shot like a film.
Like the ending scene of Batman escorting all the civilians out of the flooding building, and then when they're at the on the roof and they're evacuating all the people, that whole scene is shot beautifully. That's the best shot scene in the movie. The chase scene with the Batmobile, very well shot. Whoever was the stuntman in those cars in that scene, you did an amazing job.
Oh yeah, it's so good. This movie needs to be nominated for like best cinematography. It's shot so goddamn well.
This is already like I know 2022 just started, but this is the best movie I've seen in 2020. It will be the best movie that I will watch in 2022.
I'm sure this is gonna be high up on my list. It's gonna be on my best picture list probably. It's great.
I will hope that the Academy even nominates this for Best Picture, because I don't think a superhero movie has ever been nominated for Best Picture.
Black Panther was.
Oh, it was, yeah. Well, that was just because of inclusivity, because the Academy is
Are you
pansies.
implying? Are you implying that Black Panther isn't cinema?
Uh, all right, let's move on. So,
Can I since we're talking about scenes that are shot well, can I pay special attention to the two club scenes?
Batman goes to a rave.
Mainly the club scene where he goes in costume, like in the suit. I need every Batman thing ever, movie, video game, TV show, whatever. I need a action sequence in a club. This needs to be a staple in everything Batman from now on. That was shot so well. It was so cool to watch with like the flashy lights. Every time like the lights go out, Batman's like doing something else in a different position. He's in his element there, and it's so cool to watch. Him picking up the gun, unloading it, and then whipping it at someone's head. Cinema.
That was such a good scene. Every scene in the nightclub was really, really cool. He goes there 3 times and he like fucks with the bouncer at the front. It's really funny.
Can we talk about this for a second? This movie is funny.
Yeah, it is.
Like for the first time ever in any of these movies, they finally nailed perfectly how to do Batman humor. It's dry, subtle jokes and then facial expressions. They did it perfectly. Like the scene when he goes when he's like fucking out the bouncers, and the bouncer's like, "Oh, you want to be covered in blood? Mine are yours." Hilarious, funny.
The writing in this movie is top notch. Who wrote this movie? Hold on, let me check. Who wrote this? Matt Reeves and Peter Craig. Good job, you guys.
I can't go back and watch older Batman Forever anymore because like this is how you do humor in a Batman property. It's perfect. Like movies are good sometimes, man. I just okay for context. A time of recording, I just finished watching Tall Girl 2. and it feels good to talk about this movie instead of thinking about Tall Girl 2. Tall Girl 2 was not funny. Tall Girl 2 sucked.
I am so happy that this is the first movie I see in theaters after the pandemic. Oh
yeah, I'm so happy you got to see this in theaters too because this is such a good experience.
if I didn't see this in theaters, I don't think I would have given it 5 stars. I would have given it 4.5.
Yeah, getting to see it in IMAX with those speakers on that big screen in the correct resolution it's a sight to see. You really need to see it if you haven't.
Yeah. Actually, fun fact for people who didn't know: every movie is shot with an IMAX camera. They just crop it in post. Isn't that fun? Now that you know that.
Yeah, for those who also didn't know, D-Box is stupid. They just put standard resolution movies on IMAX screens. They don't have to give IMAX money.
And also, it's a ploy to get you to spend more money. Ooh, the chair shakes. That's crazy. Your body shakes when you watch IMAX. Go to IMAX.
This movie is such. I struggled to think about things I didn't like about this movie, and I'm sure maybe upon a rewatch there's some things that won't hit as well. Like this movie, just like Matt Reeves understands Batman in a way I don't think a director has for a long time, and I'm happy we're here. I can't wait to see more of this universe. There's something I kept talking about, and I didn't get to even talk about it yet. But can I just gush about Gotham, like the city in this movie?
Oh yes, we didn't even mention it because I was so pissed off that Gotham in the Nolan trilogy was just straight up New York City and nothing special about it. Gotham is nailed here. It's perfect. It's so perfect. This city feels alive. It feels lived in. We were talking about last time we talked about a Batman movie in Dark Knight Rises. We were talking about that Gotham has to be a character. The city is a character, and that just wasn't there in the Nolan trilogy. But here, there's so many shots where it's just like we see homeless people or just random crimes happening that Batman doesn't care about because something bigger is happening. You know,
like this city. Like Gotham is just as important as the people in it, and this city just feels populated. It feels lived in. You feel the city dying. Like it's not like in the old movies where like someone says the city is dying. In this one, you feel it.
For me, the most important thing about Gotham is the way it looks, is like the architecture and the way the buildings are built. Again, nailed. I don't know where they filmed this movie, or if it was a set, or if it was CG. I don't know what. But wherever this was filmed, I want to live there because that place looks like Gotham. You know, to be honest, like downtown Montreal kind of looks like Gotham now that I think about it. Like the old port kind of looks like Gotham. But like...
Oh, kind of, yeah, like the architecture, yeah, kind of. It's less of a shithole than Gotham is, but...
Oh, of course. The whole city is a shithole. You know what? Montreal's kind of a shithole.
I love Gotham here, and I think a big aspect of what like Reeves was trying to go for is he's trying to like populate the city with characters that are familiar, but not necessarily characters that are going to be in movies. And that's my segue into a cameo that appears in this movie.
Not a teaser, it's a cameo.
It is a cameo. It is not a teaser. For those who don't know, there are two versions of this movie that exist. And there are two versions of this movie that were screened to test audience. There was one including a scene at the end of the movie after the conflict is resolved of the Riddler talking to a certain character who we hear and we see very briefly. There's a version that was screened with that scene and without this scene. When test audience watched it, they preferred the one with this scene. But Matt Reeves said he only included it because he felt like it fit thematically with what the story he was trying to tell and with the version of Gotham he was trying to establish. But he said that he, at the moment, has no plans to include this character in the Batman 2. This character, like Lib said, being the Joker. I don't know who plays him in this movie. I just know it's not Joaquin Phoenix.
Oh wait, I looked it up before and I closed it by accident. Hold on.
But yeah, the Joker has a cameo here. He has a couple lines where he talks to the Riddler, and it is just a cameo. I think when I didn't know it was just a cameo, when I assumed this was a teaser for the next movie, like they did in Batman Begins, I was more upset about it. You got the actor's name? Okay.
Yeah, the actor is Barry Keoghan. He is he is Druig in Eternals, and he's in Dunkirk. Who is he? He's George in Dunkirk.
Yeah. Matt Reeves said he included the Joker just to liven up the city and to tie in the dialogue that was being said with what's happening on screen. And he currently has no intentions of including the Joker in the sequel. As of right now, obviously that can change. But yeah, I think when I didn't know that, then I thought this was them teasing the Batman 2 as a Joker movie. I was a little bit more upset. Because I think I'm tired of the Joker personally. Like, I love him. He's one of my favorite comic book villains. But I'm just tired of him, so I didn't want this to be in these movies. But if it's just like to liven up the city with like more of Batman's rogues gallery, I'm okay with it. I think it's fine. I think he plays a nice role. He has a very like meaningful conversation with the Riddler, and it kind of like opens up to like the Riddler coming back in the future movie. Because let's be real, the security at Arkham Asylum is the worst. Like
Yeah,
it's just the worst.
it's terrible. This movie explains why it's so bad, though,
True.
which is great.
They do explain it. Yeah, I think as a cameo, it works. As a teaser, it would bother me more.
Yeah, it's important to note to anyone who wasn't sure that this is really it's only a cameo, and the only reason why I was there was for two reasons: what Pat just said and a little bit of fan service.
Yeah, a little bit of fan
A
service.
little bit, just a bit. I don't think like Matt Reeves doesn't like doing fan service, but this was good. This like I liked it. I thought it was a great reference. I didn't know it was just. I thought it was a teaser, but I was okay with it.
We see just enough of him, like like it's not too much. Like it's a good amount.
Like I when I saw it in the theater, I got jumpy. Like I started getting super excited because I was like, oh my god, it's the Joker. I think the laugh is great.
Yeah,
The laugh is perfect. Like it's reminiscent of Heath Ledger's laugh. And now that I'm thinking about it, Heath Ledger didn't laugh as much as the Joker. He more giggled.
he more giggled. He didn't have that big. He had like he has like a one big dramatic laugh, but it's not like a constant thing.
But yeah, it was a pretty good. I liked it, and the track that plays in the soundtrack during that is really scary, like super spooky. So yeah, good cameo, but don't expect much.
Well, I mean, we'll see. Maybe the studio will want him to be the villain.
I don't know. Like I did they start writing the second one yet? I mean, Shane, it's super early.
They've been talking about. I mean, like so for Batman fans, I'm sure people caught on to the Court of Owls um kind of hits, and the cast and director have also been talking about Court of Owls a lot. So I
Is
think that's the direction we're going. It's like an underground society that basically like dictates God. Like it's like they have like their hands in everybody's pocket. they're like ultimately in control of everything.
Oh my god, this looks great.
It's a lot. It's a lot. It's one of my favorite Batman stories. That's the direction I think this trilogy is going. It may or like the series. I shouldn't say trilogy. I think like Court of Owls would be a good third movie for this series. And like there's a hint towards it where like the dude with the bomb strapped to his chest. I forget who he was. He was some big important dude. Maybe the mayor.
No, he was no, the mayor was the first guy who died during the intro. That was like the district attorney or something.
Okay. Well, like when he was dying, his last thing, the last things he said was, "No, I can't tell you who it is because they have their hands everywhere. Like they're too powerful. You can't stop them. They're everywhere." And I think a lot of people like would immediately assume he's talking about Falcone. But now that Falcone's dead, I think that was them teasing the Court of Owls. Personally, I definitely think that's where they're heading. Because I think if it was Falcone, they could have said Falcone.
Oh yeah, and also one of Batman's cards that he got from the Riddler that had the riddle in it. It had a picture of an owl and it said secret friend.
Personally, when like if we're talking like dream sequels, I think doing Hush next would be cool, and then we end up with the Owls.
I want Matt Reeves to do Scarecrow. I want to know how he will do it.
He'd do a good Scarecrow, I think.
Yeah, I think he'd do a great Scarecrow. I also want to see Two-Face, but like we've seen these villains already.
I would like if like the second one introduced Harvey Dent, like not as Two Face, just it's just
Just
Harvey
Harvey
Dent,
Dent, yeah.
and like let's start like livening up the city with more of Batman's rogues gallery, but like they're not villains yet.
Yeah, like what we just see.
Like maybe like the movie opens up or like there's a scene like after Batman stopped the crime and it's like Batman like interrogating Professor Pig.
Yeah.
Like just stuff like that. Like let's liven up the city. Let's have Harvey Dent in there. Let's have like
Is Poison Ivy a Batman villain?
yeah, Poison Ivy's a Batman villain.
Okay, what's her normal name? Like
Oh, I don't know.
yeah, like they could do that.
Yeah, like just or like maybe we cut back to Arkham and like Harleen Quinzel, Doctor Harleen Quinzel is doing or like Doctor Crane and Harleen Quinzel are like at Arkham doing things. Like she's still a doctor. She's not Harley Quinn yet.
Yeah, and we know the Joker is held up in Arkham, so
Yeah, so like you can like imagine what's gonna happen next yourself. You don't need the movie to handhold you. I like do more stuff like that in these movies, and they're cute little Easter eggs, they're cute little references, they're cameos.
I'm assuming the second movie is either going to be the same length or a bit shorter than the Batman. But if they all keep the same length, like this movie was 2 hours and 50 minutes. That's pushing towards 3 hours. This is a long movie, but it uses all of its time really well. If the other movies use their time as well as this one does, I'm gonna get so roped into this universe. I'm gonna want games. I'm gonna want more stuff.
I have to say, like, I didn't think this movie was long. Like, it didn't feel long.
No, it didn't feel long at all. I think one of the reasons why, and the friend I went to watch this with pointed this out. One of the reasons why it didn't feel so long is because the movie kind of involves the audience with the riddles. Because some of the riddles Batman solves immediately, but there's two of them that stay unsolved for a good while. And the whole time there was one about a rat. And the whole time you're trying to figure out who the rat is. I thought it was I thought he was the rat, and he had to like unmask. You know, this movie's hard to predict, but that's good.
Yeah, but I remember seeing a joke where it's like, I wish, because like Batman always knew the answer, right?
Yeah.
Like, can you slow down? I want to solve these riddles myself, bro. Like Batman's too smart.
Yeah, it was great. This movie's great, fantastic. Everyone should watch it. It's in theaters right now. Go watch it. You're gonna have like the theater experience of a lifetime.
If you're a fan of Batman, please do yourself a favor. If you haven't already seen this for whatever reason, please go watch it.
I'm buying this on DVD because I need to see the deleted scenes. I need to see what this movie had. I'm really excited for the Blu-ray release of this movie. Yeah, so pleasantly surprised. I'm happy I spent $60 to watch this movie.
$60.
Yeah, but the tickets were $20 each plus tax, and then I got
Oh yeah, okay. Did you see it? You didn't see it in VIP, right? You just saw it in IMAX.
No, I saw it in IMAX. It was a Thursday, but I don't know why it was
Okay.
so expensive. There was no one in my theater pretty much. We were like 30 people. And IMAX theaters can hold like at least 120 people. But whatever. Anyways, let's move on to hot off the presses segment where we talk about movie news. This was a very slow week, but we have some bangers. The biggest thing, of course, is that Pete Davidson is going to space.
He's going to space, guys. It's definitely happening.
It's definitely like he's there's the SpaceX thing we all know, right? With whatever's sending some celebrities to space. Pete Davidson, he's going to space. He's going places. He's gonna go see Mars. It's gonna be awesome.
Next up, we have a little update on something we talked about previously on the podcast. But yeah, Amazon had bought MGM Studios a couple months ago now.
Yeah,
And now they have officially merged. So you'll see your James Bond movies on Amazon Prime Video for an extra fee soon.
probably. Yeah, or maybe they'll take something out of Disney Plus's book and then just add it in like what Disney Plus did with Star.
We could hope, but I'm sure they'll charge more money.
Yeah, I'm sure. MGM doesn't do TV shows. They only do movies. So, but Licorice Pizza is a MGM movie. So hey, maybe you could watch Licorice Pizza now. Next up, we've had some rumors and reports that Daredevil is getting a reboot on Disney Plus. This isn't official yet.
This is not official. I don't know if we talked about it on the podcast yet. The Netflix shows have officially moved to Disney Plus.
Yeah, we talked about how they were getting removed from Netflix and added onto Disney Plus, but by now they're all there. They're there now. All 5 of the Netflix shows are on Disney Plus. This, of course, includes the GOAT, Daredevil, and apparently there's a reboot in the works. We don't know if this is true. I'm getting giddy, so I should probably stop thinking that it's true because it's most likely false. Because if they did do a reboot, first of all, it would be a movie, and second of all, it would not be rated R, so it wouldn't be as good. Yeah, I said it.
It's true. I don't. I would like a soft reboot, like not a complete reboot because that would upset me. But I think like a soft reboot would be fine.
Yeah, and I think that would translate better in a movie than a Disney Plus series.
Yeah, it's true.
But moving on.
Moving on, we have a. Oh, sorry, because it's funny because I had the same reaction when I got sent this by a buddy. But a Play-Doh movie is being made,
Yeah, there.
and I wish I had more to say than shocked silence.
Yeah,
Let's
there's.
see. Yeah,
We don't know who's involved. There's just a Play-Doh movie. That's it. And then another stupid one. Doctor Strange and the Prowler were added to Fortnite. So, I saw this meme. The only reason I put this in is because I wanted to mention this meme that every piece of media, literally at this point, every piece of media can be linked to Fortnite now. Think about it.
and next we have Christopher Lloyd was cast in The Mandalorian season 3.
We don't know for what role yet. He's just casted.
I feel like we did these in like the wrong order.
Yeah,
I should have done the Daredevil, and you should have talked about this because I think you would have had more to say. But I guess we could cut each other off. It's fine.
no, I mean, there's nothing really else to say. That's it. He got casted again. Very slow week. Extreme. This might have been the slowest week we've ever had on Hot Off the Presses.
We were kind of reaching for straws here.
Yeah, that's why we put the Play-Doh movie.
I mean the Play-Doh movie's news, right? So
All right, this next one is big news though. So go ahead, Pat, because this is your thing.
this is my thing. Yeah. So the first 4 episodes of Moon Knight were screened to critics, and critics are saying it's good. Lib and I were talking about it briefly off the podcast. That it's weird that they only show half the series basically, or like 4 I think it's 6 episodes for Moon Knight instead of like the whole show. And I made a joke that they showed only those 4 because the Disney Plus shows always get bad in the end.
Yeah.
And I hope it's not true in this case. Yeah, I'm really excited for Moon Knight. I hope it's good.
Yeah. Also, I didn't write this down in the doc, but a couple days ago we got a new trailer for Moon Knight, and it looks really good. Can't wait to watch it. Next up, it's coming up at the end of the month, so streaming services, of course, are removing movies. But for some reason, HBO Max is removing like 10% of their entire library. Like 130 movies are just being Thanos snapped from HBO Max.
Is there a reason why? That's weird.
I don't know, because normally for Netflix, like 20 something movies and shows are removed. Like Disney Plus, they never remove anything. But for HBO Max, for some reason, they remove large chunks of movies, and over 120 movies and shows are being just taken out. at the end of March, which is really weird. I think HBO is running out of money.
Maybe, or maybe another streaming service will absorb them. I would hope not, but
In Canada, they have zero presence here because Disney absorbed them. So HBO Max is really only a USA thing. And lastly, sadly, we just got news that Pete Davidson is no longer going to space.
unfortunate.
This,
Rest in peace. That was a quick update.
this is really unfortunate news that Pete Davidson is no longer going to space. Sad. I thought yeah, he would have had a good time.
I'm sure you would have.
this is this is the worst hot off the presses segment ever.
Yeah.
It's fine. It was only like 5 minutes long, but let's
Yeah,
move
it's
on
fine.
to our final segment of the day, backlogged. The segment where we recommend each other movies. Take it away, Pat.
Last week, Lib recommended me a little movie that was nominated for Best Picture, I believe, in 2019 or
Yep,
2020, technically.
2020. Yeah.
Ford v Ferrari, a movie I planned on seeing in theaters at the time. In fact, I watched all the Best Picture nominees in theaters at the time, except this one. I meant to watch this one. I don't know why I didn't.
Directed by the guy who directed Logan and who is directing the newest Indiana Jones movie, by the way.
Logan is really good, and fun fact for Lib, Logan was almost the movie I chose to recommend him. But I realized
Oh.
Logan is only as good as it is because you watched the other X-Men movies, which Lib has not done.
Yeah,
so,
that's why they're all in my watch list.
yep, so I will not be recommending Logan to Lib this time, but maybe one day.
So tell us a bit about Ford v Ferrari.
Ford v Ferrari is my favorite movie about two car companies, Ford and Ferrari. Yeah,
Yeah, so
so
you don't know a lot about. Did you end up watching this with your dad?
I did not watch this. I watched it like this morning at like 2 a.m.
Unfortunate. Oh my god.
I know, like yesterday at like 2 a.m. Whatever, it was recently.
Well, this movie gives me a lot of adrenaline when I watch it. I've only seen it twice.
So here's it's actually kind of funny. You recommended this to me, and like I watched it when I did, because I recently watched a video on stuntmen,
Yeah.
and it was specifically car stuntmen in Baby Driver. It was like the intro scene in Baby Driver,
Oh yeah.
and I think this movie, like, not like having seen that video, for I don't know why, I was like really into the driving in this movie.
Yeah, there's an entire documentary just on the stunt people from this movie.
Yeah, I think car stunts are just really cool. It's super hard to pull off. It's super dangerous. So like shout out to these people.
Yeah, speaking of super dangerous, the main character in this movie died because he was testing a car.
Yeah, so this movie's got a pretty great cast. We have Christian Bale and Matt Damon as the leads, and like John Bernthal's in it, Punisher. My boy John Bernthal. Noah Jupe is in it, which is interesting because I know this name and I didn't think I was gonna see him in this movie.
Oh, he's from A Quiet Place. Yeah, yesterday when I was rewatching it, I was destroying my head trying to figure out where I know this kid
He's
from.
in A Quiet Place. He's in Honey, which I saw at the time as well. Honey Boy, not Honey. Honey
Honey
Boy.
Boy, yeah, with Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah, so like the best way I could describe this movie is just the two dude bros trying to make the best car. We're gonna try to push this industry to its absolute limit. We're gonna maximize speed, and I think it's cool. I think if you're a car guy, you should definitely give this movie a watch because I think it's interesting to learn about the history of these two.
Yeah, I was about to say that because if you know anything about car history, you know that Ford pretty much sucked until this race. Because then Ford became recognized around the world instead of just in the USA. And then this was also the same year that they released the first Mustang. So Ford was not great. And we all know Ford as being the first car company to mass produce cars. They were the cheapest at one point, and they were losing money because of it. But yeah, this whole movie is such a amazing period. It's a period piece, really. It's nonfiction as well. Everything that happened in this movie did happen in real life. There is some exaggeration, but only in the places that have to fill in the gaps between the things that we know 100% happened at the actual Le Mans 1966. So it's a great movie, and it's super long too. If you like long
It's
movies,
like 2.5 hours. It's long.
but I think it used most of its runtime pretty well.
Yeah, I didn't think it dragged at any point. I watched this really early in the morning, so like,
Yeah, if you were gonna feel the drag, it would have been
and
then.
and I still didn't really feel the drag. I was pretty like invested, and I was pretty like hyped up while watching it. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I think it's a great I don't say race. It is a race movie, but like I don't want to describe it as a race movie.
It's more of a it's a history movie.
It is a history movie. All about cars and cars. The cars here are cool.
Yeah. I want a Ford GT in real life, man.
Don't let your dreams be dreams.
Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah, so Lib, I'm gonna recommend you a movie now.
Yeah, you are.
So I talked about Baby Driver, and we both like Baby Driver, correct? We both like Baby Driver. It's a good movie.
Yeah, it is.
And we both enjoyed this movie.
Yeah.
V Ferrari. You recommended me a car movie, so I'm gonna recommend you a car movie.
Ooh.
Because this movie in your watch list is one of my favorite movies ever made. And you've not seen it.
Oh.
And I think it's weird that you haven't seen it because I feel like you would have watched this. It is a little movie starring a man from La La Land, Ryan Gosling.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's funny because you said you thought I was going to recommend you Drive My Car. Well, you were right with one of those words. I'm recommending you Drive,
Drive.
the 2011 movie Drive.
Starring Canada, man. Wrong Ryan. Wrong Ryan.
Wrong Ryan, but yeah, you're gonna watch Drive. Ron Perlman is
Wait, Ron Perlman's in it?
and Bryan Cranston is in it, and Oscar Isaac is in it.
What the fuck? What year did this
Yeah.
come out? 2011?
2011.
Damn. I need to watch this movie.
It's really good.
One of our friends reviewed it and he wrote he drives.
Ryan do be driving.
Ryan drives in this movie.
This is true.
It's weird because I've seen so many weird fast car movies, but not Drive.
Well, that's gonna change now.
Well, I'm excited to watch Drive, but with that, that's gonna be it for this episode. But we need to tease the next one because we kind of did that, but you don't know what's happening.
Yeah, all you know is it's April Fools.
Yeah, next week is April Fools, and everybody knows that April Fools is the day where you're the most serious. And April Fools is a day to be serious, right? And you need to give serious movie reviews on April Fools. We're not going to tell you what movie we're reviewing, and we're not going to tell you how we're going to review it. But you should look outside, by the way, guys. You should look outside. Get off your computer, okay? Get off your computer and look outside.
Yeah.
It's such a beautiful day, isn't it?
It is.
Isn't it?
You know, Lib, you're my favorite customer.
Oh, thank you.
And that's all you're getting. Is get your spoons ready, and we'll see you next time for whatever we're talking about.
And get your drinks ready.
Ooh.
Another teaser. That's your last one. But with that, that's going to end this episode. I am terrified for the next one. And if you want to check it out, make sure you don't miss it. Go to the link tree. That's linktr.ee/fresh off the reel. No underscores, no spaces, no capitals. You don't need those underscores anymore. We got rid of it. There you will find a form that you could fill out to recommend us a movie or TV show. We'll watch your recommendation and then make an episode about it if we really, really liked it. Or if we really, really hated it, we might make an episode about it too, because we don't have any episodes about bad movies, actually. That's true. That'll change. That's gonna change. We're gonna do episodes on bad movies. We have to. Also in the link tree, you'll find all our socials, everywhere you could watch/listen to the podcast, and you can also find our Letterboxd accounts where you can get spoilers. Because who doesn't love spoilers? There are entire websites dedicated to it. With that, we will see all of you in an IMAX theater near you. Good night, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Watch the Batman in IMAX. Hello and welcome. That was bad. Ow, my throat. Does I got mucus down my throat?
Is there something in the way? This is still recording, right? You can throw this at the end.
Yeah,
You can throw this at the end. Yeah.
Okay, let's do this. Okay.